Welcome to Grit, the Real Estate Growth Mindset podcast, hosted by Brian Charlesworth, founder of Sisu. Sisu provides growth automation software for real estate. You'll hear stories from real estate thought and technology leaders, team owners, and brokers on how they grew their business in a rapidly changing industry. You'll learn how to transform your brokerage and teams into a high-performing and analytics-driven business so you have a new, durable, competitive advantage against disruption in your market. So let's get right into it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Grit Podcast. I'm Brian Charlesworth. I'm the founder of Sisu and your host of the show. And you may recognize that you don't recognize where I'm at today because I'm moving into a new office. So this moss wall used to be Spring's moss wall, and we'll see where that ends up. But today I'm excited for this episode because I have Robert Conway with me. He is from Twin Falls, Idaho, with the Jeremy Orton Group. And Robert heads up all of ops, and this is really unique, and all of sales for their team. So they have a team of 12 agents looking to get to 20 agents here over the next year. And I'm going to see if today I can persuade him to get to 50 agents over the next year. And that's going to be my goal for this episode. We'll see if I'm successful there or not. But welcome to the show. It's good to have you, Robert.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Brian.
To kick off, Robert, why don't you just give everyone a little bit of background, maybe just on yourself, how you got into real estate, and like why you're where you are today.
Yeah, so my background is I've been in management for about 15 years now. I worked at a BPO, started on the ground floor and worked into middle management there. And then when I was doing that, also getting a psychology degree, got that, went to a startup for psychology. While doing that, I got my MBA, and then I got a graduate in human resources. So I became a director for a large trucking outfit for their HR. However, I was also a foster parent that worked specifically with high needs individuals. So they're called like level 3. And what happened is it's nothing on the trucking company or anything like that, but I constantly had to have flexibility because I'd have to go get these kids from school or something because there's an incident that occurred, or I'd have to talk to a teacher or something of that nature. So I needed something with more flexibility. So real estate just naturally fell into that. And I jumped onto the operations side, been with Jeremy for over 3 years now, and just really worked on growth and separation of different entities and businesses to really streamline the real estate side of things since I've been here.
Streamlining is a word that clicks for me. That's my whole goal in life, is to streamline and automate the real estate industry, right? So that's why you and I are on this call right now and why we're aligned. I just learned that you're the most educated human in real estate. Is that true?
I don't think that's accurate, but
it might well be, right? It might well be. So anyway, well, congratulations. You've only been there 3 years. You've already taken over not only running ops, but also sales, which is very unique. And so it sounds like when you came in, you were just like, hey, I just want to help you grow your team. Like, I want to help you grow your business. I'll do whatever it takes. Is that how you got into this role?
Pretty much. So I sat down with Jeremy and kind of talked about what his vision and goal was, and then just kind of worked everything that I knew how to do and things that I learned along the way into that vision so that we can achieve exactly where we're kind of headed right now.
Cool. So I know streamlining is something you have said, and I never hear an ops person talk about streamlining. So I love that you said that. I think they want to streamline. They want to eliminate duplicate entry, right? But streamlining is not a word that most use. I use it, but I think with your education, you use it. I'd love to hear, like, 3 years now in the business, what are some of the key, like, big changes you've made to the business that have had a massive impact thus far?
So one of the largest shock to the system changes that I made is significantly cutting our lead spend on online leads over 2 years to the point where we're less than 10% of the initial budget when I came in for online lead spend. and it hasn't affected our amount of transactions that close or pinned or
Okay.
even who we're working with. Just because if you get lots of leads, that's great. It's the quality of the lead and how you work it, right? So we're a very SOI, we're a very past client, as well as just anybody who knows us refers one of our agents. And that's kind of our bread and butter for our business.
So
So that
your
was,
referral and SOI business.
yep. So that was a big shock. And when I say referrals, they're not paid referrals. They're just, we did a
Understood.
great job, so somebody recommended us,
Yeah.
and we did it again, so then somebody else recommended us, and so on. So that's really big to us to make sure that we're delivering on that goal.
Yeah.
Um,
So it's so crucial. I sold real estate for about 2 years, and I learned the easiest way to grow was to get a referral before I close every time. So about a week before closing, I'd really focus on getting a referral from that person because they loved me. We did a great job, and that's the perfect time to get a referral, right? So anyway, I found that it's really easy to double your business if you can get a good referral every time. So same thing you're learning. What I love about the way you think, Robert, is you're not only focused on growth, but you're focused on profitable growth. And I think that's a big piece that's missing in this industry right now. I've seen so many leaders that are like, yeah, I want hundreds of agents. I want this, you know, I want 1,000 transactions. And so to get there, they go against everything they know about running a successful business, from how much they spend on leads to agent splits to everything. It's just like their business goes completely out of whack. And then they get there and it's like, how do I reverse this mess I've made? Right. And so I love that you guys are taking the approach you're taking and just really scaling a profitable business. You guys have 12 agents now. How many transactions will you do this year?
roughly 218.
Okay. That's roughly 218. I love that, most people when they say roughly, they're going to say 200, 250, but 218 is a pretty specific number. How do you know your number so well?
Well, this is your own plug because it's Sisu. So we use predictive models and everything in order to really hone down where we're at on a weekly basis and know where we're projected to hit to meet that like standard that you just talked about, making sure that like growth and profitability grow together rather than opposing. So that's where that uniqueness of operations and sales comes into place, where we can pull on both levers.
Okay. So, yeah, that might have been a plug for Sisu, but not really, because there are a lot of Sisu teams that don't know their numbers to that extent, right? I'll bet if I asked you today, how many sales have you closed year to date? You could probably answer me. What's the number?
It's 132.
132.
Yeah.
Okay. So here we are, end of September. We have 4 months left, and we're going to go from 132 to 218. Tell me how you figured that.
So right now we have over 30 transactions that are pending.
Okay.
We have roughly 14, and I use like roughly with exactness because I can't guarantee those things. So mathematically it equates to this, but without true guarantee, I'll always use the word roughly. So that's why it comes into play there. But roughly it's 14 transactions that are a very high likely of closing. It's not to the state of where we have a actual signed contract yet.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives us 46. And then on top of that, just our normal cadence of production.
Okay. Are those 14? I mean, and I'm asking this because I'm really intrigued. Like, are those 14? You have over 30 pending. I think that would be 32 pending based on the 46 you said. So you have 32 pending right now. You have 14 that are probably signed buyers or sellers. Are those mostly sellers?
It's a mixture. Like it's a true mixture because
Okay.
it's more like a 55-45 kind of thing, where we have 55 right now is on the seller side and 45 is more towards the buyer and percentage wise.
Okay. Okay. Cool. And so you're estimating with those two, it's 46. And then on top of that, you have another 3 months of production, two of which will count towards this year's closings, right?
Correct.
Is
And
that the way you're looking at it?
yeah, so we have 46 listings right now that are active, and with months of inventory, like that's how we are kind of projecting that cadence.
Okay, I love it. You're a guy that I can tell does research. So I'd love to know, what do you think is happening in this industry right now? From let's first talk, I want to get into interest rates, but let's first talk M&A because I think it's pretty interesting what just happened with Anywhere. Just happened 2 days ago. Relevant information, right? Happened this week. Uh, Compass buying Anywhere. So Anywhere brands, Century 21, Coldwell Banker. Geez, what are they? There's a bunch of them. And I've had contracts with some of them. So, but anyway, those brands, which there's 5 or 6 of those, all acquired by Compass now to make a massive, massive organization of, I think it's over 350,000 agents is what I've seen. How do you think that affects this industry?
So I think what we'll see more and more is acquisitions inside of it. And then in addition to that is ecosystems that are forming around either the lending side of things, the title side of things, or directly the agent side of things, especially with the advancement of AI integration into the industry and being able to provide like multi-service pieces in that same ecosystem rather than having to have this person and that person and this company and that, where it will be more cohesive in it. And I think that you started to see it with like Zillow getting their own agents and things and then offering mortgage through themselves.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, I agree so much that we now have a company called Simply Mortgage, where we partner with our team owners, and we do all the mortgage side of the business, and they help grow the business from a marketing perspective. And I think the best thing about doing what you're talking about here is providing a better experience for the consumer, right? You can know if you know your lender, and obviously they can choose any lender they want. But if you know that if they use a lender that you're associated with, that you work with constantly, that you know can close in, 3 weeks or less, it's a big difference versus just using any random bank. So in what kind of experience you can provide to that consumer. I remember when I was actually selling real estate a decade ago, and it seemed like every time somebody used a credit union, we had to push out closing. We missed the closing deadline. So I don't know. What's your experience with that?
So we've had, and it's gotten better over the last couple of years. My initial first year, we had 5 deals that were pulled at almost the closing table. Like it was 2 days out from the closing table, or they just got there clear to close, but then something shifted or whatever. And
So
then
the
we had to
lender
cover,
last minute
yep,
pulled out.
yeah. So we
So
had
what
to
happened?
cover down. We had to cover down, and we used lenders that we're familiar with and that we knew would be able to, get the job done.
Okay, so
And
they went from thinking they're closing, you pull in a new lender. What you had to extend the dates by 3 weeks or something to hit your lender's timelines?
no, just luckily it's only been about a week, maybe 2 at most, just because all of the work is done on it.
Yeah.
It's just that the bank no longer felt comfortable with the loan. So then we find somebody who does, and then they close it and everybody walks away happy, which results in us getting, great reviews on different platforms from being able to accomplish that with our lending partners. So we cultivate really strong relationships with our lending partners because we know that they are a crucial part of this business and our business, and we are a crucial part of their business.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I want to emphasize it's all about that experience, right? Sure, there's an opportunity for you to make money as well on the mortgage side by owning a mortgage business. In any case, the most important thing is that you provide a better experience for the consumer, right?
Oh yes, that's
Yeah.
our 100% goal. Is what do we call it? We call it luxury experience at any price point.
Yeah. Okay. Robert, I know you're a data person, so let's jump in. I want to know your opinion of this as well. What's your opinion of interest rates?
My opinion of interest rates are that historically it's a good rate. From a short term, it does not look like a great rate because
You're
we've
talking
had,
about current rates. Current
yeah,
rates do
current
not look
rates
great. Yeah.
historically, like a 30-year trend, 6% is a strong rate. Looking at it over the last 5 years, it's not the best rate because of the fact that we've seen his like historically crazy rates where people were in 2% and things. And
Yeah.
then that spread like wildfire. So then you have public opinion that affects things as well. So understanding kind of the analogy of like marry the house and date the rate is huge when we're talking with buyers, so that if that's an objection that we have to handle, that we have the appropriate tools and the appropriate conversations so that they understand what they're doing and where they're at.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So that's really been the story over the last 2 years, right? And now here we are. Rates just dropped. We have two. Feds have said they're going to drop two more quarter point rate drops this year, projected to be at least three next year. By the end of next year, what do you see? Let's just say everyone that I've talked to, my research has shown that we'll probably be in the low fives by the end of next year. I did see something this week that actually said we'll be in the high twos, which would be a shocking thing. But let's assume it's assume it's the low fives. We're in the low fives by the end of next year. What's that going to do to the market and to buyers and sellers? What kind of effect will that have, in your opinion?
We're still at an inventory shortage, so it's going to shift the market again, and it's going to increase the price of homes because you're going to have a more competitive market. So now you're talking that you're going to lose buyer or seller concessions towards the buyer for inspection repairs, other things like that. You'll probably see some instance of waived inspections. You'll probably see more in line with, I wouldn't say necessarily 2021 to 2022, but more so 20, where people were still in a uptick in terms of buying and the price increase as well. My hope is that we don't hyperinflate the market where we're jumping from a historical 4% to 10 plus again, where maybe we jump to like a 7 or an 8% appreciation, so that it doesn't outprice a lot of potential buyers that now have more purchasing power, so they can get into the market, right? Without any kind of permanent oversight to it, there's no way to guarantee that somebody entering the market is going to be able to afford a home, right? It's going to be you either saved up, your lender has amazing rates and plans, and they worked with third-party partners and other things in order to get you some form of assistance or whatever, so that you're able to enter the home. Otherwise, it's going to be more so that second time somebody's purchasing a home. So all of the people that purchase in the 2020s and 2021s that have just been off of wanting to kind of pursue the next home, right? So that not even necessarily an upgrade, but just like, I need an extra bedroom because I had a kid or something of that nature, or I want to move to this different neighborhood or what have you. will then come back into the buying market because the interest rate is closer. So there's not that hesitation of I'm losing so much because I'm giving so much away to the bank.
Yeah, I mean it's a fine balance, right? Because lower interest rates usually means higher prices. Lower interest rate means you can afford more home. Higher price, which drives higher prices. Higher prices go there, and now you have a high interest rate. Now you can't afford the home. That's the market we're in today, right? When the rates get down into the low fives, what I'm hearing you say is you expect we'll see the market again where we have maybe 10 offers on every home.
Maybe 10. I would say.
If you've been enjoying Grit, please help us continue to grow the channel by leaving a 5-star review and sharing it with a friend. Now back to Grit.
Probably closer to like 5, but more so it's going to be the inventory is going to significantly decrease because homes aren't staying on the market as long. So that statistics that lets you know like the months of inventory that's what's going to come down.
Yeah, so more home sales. I mean, the average
Yeah.
in the United States, and this is the last thing I'll ask you about the market. The average in the United States is 5 million homes per year. We went up to 6.8 in 22. 23, we dropped under 4. We've been at about 4 for the last 3 years now. This year projected as well. What happens next year? How many homes are we going to sell?
I'm thinking we're going to be around, like conservatively, I think 4.8. More so, like my estimation is 5 to 5.2.
Yeah, great. I'm going with 5 as well. We're gonna connect at the end of next year, and we're gonna see were we right? Is it 5? Is that the number? I think it is, which is great for anybody in the real estate business, especially with so many people being out of the real estate business now. Those in the real estate business will really be able to reap the rewards and really have massive growth, I think, as more homes sell with less realtors. So let's talk about your business real quick. You've been on Sisu now for 2 years, right? You made that change when you came in?
Yeah. So we were looking for a platform that allowed us to have like contracts stored within it so that we could easily access documents and manage our tasks. But then the other side that Sisu brought was an even higher degree of knowing what our numbers are.
Yeah. Okay. And so when you made that decision, were you just on the ops side or were you on the sales side as well
No.
back then?
So I was just on the ops side at that point in time.
Okay. So from an operations perspective, you wanted to make sure the documents were in the system all the time. You now have clients having access to those through the client portal as well?
Correct.
You do. Okay, cool. And now I don't know. I don't know if this is the case or not, but are you also having them sign documents in the client portal with Sisu signed today?
No, so we're not utilizing that. We are still utilizing our MLS.
Okay.
It has a DocuSign type feature.
Okay. So you're signing docs in the MLS is what you're doing. Okay, great. So walk me through this evolution of how you went from ops to ops and sales, because I've never seen it before. It's very interesting to me.
So I work at a Keller Williams team, and one of the things that they have is like a KPA. So when I took my KPA, operations was lower than director of sales. So my number 1 was legal, and then my number 3 was director of sales, and then actually operations was my number 8. So
Really?
with
Wow.
just how those align, I have prior sales experience in retail as well as like car sales. So I have some background in that. I enjoy sales. The aspect that I enjoy more so than sales is helping people like achieve their goals. So because
sales
of that,
leadership.
yeah. So because of that coaching piece, I've helped develop training metrics and methodologies and things at different companies that they've still implemented. And because of that kind of pathway, I've always geared towards helping people achieve whatever it is that they're setting out to achieve. So because of that, it kind of aligns with sales, especially when we're talking home ownership, where that's the flagship of the American dream. And then on top of that, helping people achieve their goals so that they can then, create the life that they're wanting to create with real estate.
Okay, awesome. So it's really fun for me to see this migration that you've done here. Let's talk a minute about how knowing your metrics or how you've leveraged Sisu to be a better sales leader. Because I know, I mean, you talked about streamlining when we started this. Sisu is all about streamlining, eliminating duplicate entry. So from an ops perspective, you were attracted to it. But now from a sales perspective, how are you leveraging Sisu to be a better sales leader? Because when people come in, have you been into our, I don't remember, have you been into our behind the scenes of a real estate
Yeah,
machine event?
yep, I've
So
attended.
yeah, so you saw we go so much into sales leadership and leadership in general. How have you guys been able to leverage Sisu to really enhance the sales leadership in your business?
So I can't remember exactly where I heard it. I know that it was at some form of a seminar, but the saying was that accountability is the highest form of love that you can have. And we've just utilized Sisu in order to live that motto, where we've been more accountable to each other as well as to our clients, and from an operations as well as like a leadership standpoint to our agents, where we've
Okay.
been able to really goal plan with them and talk to them about the importance of, data tracking and things, but also when you know your numbers, then it's easier to then plan accordingly. So when you're starting to falter or something, then like, okay, I need to make, 30 more calls, or I need to convert, 2 more of my appointments to getting the rep signed or something of that nature. So because we know those numbers, and that's also been something that Jeremy kind of implemented when he first formed the team, is just knowledge of the market as well as your own conversions. Then it's just all came together cohesively, and had Sisu at kind of the forefront, where we're looking at that data and having those conversations around it.
Yeah, I love it. I like to say it this way for a realtor, like this is how they can build a predictable income, right? Most people in real estate don't know how much they're going to make. But if you're in real estate and you run your business like a business and know your numbers, you can truly forecast and build a predictable business. And that's such an advantage for somebody like you guys who are leading this team in Idaho. You're probably one of the few teams in Idaho leveraging Sisu. You just told me as we started this call, Robert, that your agents, your 12 agents are all in the top 50 in your MLS, which I think is amazing. Is that true?
So our newer agents aren't directly in our top 50, but our senior agents
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. So you have newer agents that are not. That
yeah,
makes sense.
every agent that has came on in the last 6 months, though, has some form of production
Yeah.
that's closed already.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Love that. So you're able to get people into production faster as well because you have systems in place for that. Let's talk about growth. You said you wanted to go from 12 to 20 agents. What's the cause for wanting to go to 20 agents? You're growing already because of agent productivity increasing, but now you're saying, hey, we want more agents. Tell me why.
Because we want to plug people into a system that they can then have that predictability, right? So
Yeah.
understanding and having that mindset. But the reason why 20 is to net 18, and the reason to net 18 is for our market here, which we're going to call like our hub center, which is the Magic Valley, which is basically the I-84 to I-86 corridor.
Yeah.
That particular area with the 18 agents, then we can look at expansion. So it's not stopping at 20 or 18, it's stopping more so at 20 and 18 here at our hub, and then expanding outwardly to surrounding areas, or, we have like Boise and Idaho Falls and
Yeah.
Pocatello as like
Yeah.
large metro areas that are around us that
Mhm.
are less than 2 hours away.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. What is your timeline for getting to, I'm going to call it 18 now instead of 20, getting to 18? Because people always leave, right? So you're always going to hire, and not everyone you hire is going to stay or is going to make it through your training, whatever it is. So what is your timeline for wanting to get to the 20 or 18 number?
So the timeline to get to there is by May of next year, so May of 2026.
Okay. So basically 3 quarters in the next 3 quarters.
Yep.
Yep. Or actually sooner than that. That's not a full 3 quarters. How did you guys come up with May?
So it would have been sooner, but we're currently migrating our CRM. So that is a huge undertaking when we have over 32,000 leads inside of the database.
What are you moving from and what are you moving to?
So we're moving from Boomtown over to Brevity.
Okay. Okay. Here's my question for you guys. And obviously, moving something like that takes some time. But you guys are a company with systems, right? I'm guessing you're leveraging Sisu's onboarding and offboarding of agents. Is that right?
So we're using some form of onboarding from Sisu. We're not doing any offboarding, which the main reason why is because we don't have a very high turnover rate.
Okay.
We retain most of our agents
That's great.
that come on. It's if anybody leaves, it's more of a self, like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and split from here kind of thing. Since I've been on the team, we've had 3 people leave in 3 years.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Okay. So on an onboarding front, when you guys build goals with your agents, which I know you do, and what activities it's going to take to hit those goals, that's how you're building a predictable income. Have you done the same thing around recruiting agents? How many agents do you need to recruit to hit that 20 by next May?
So to hit 20, we need to recruit 23. To hit the 18, we need to recruit 20.
Okay, so to recruit 20 agents between now and then, that's recruiting 20 new agents between now and then. So you would actually
No, so to hit 20 altogether.
hit 20
So
altogether.
yeah,
Okay, so how
so
many
it's
how many
8 agents.
new do you need to recruit a month?
So in order to hit that, it's like 2 a quarter, roughly. Well,
So let's call it one a month.
yeah. So yeah, 1 a month.
Let's call it one a month. So I'm going back into now. I remember when Spring Justin had about the same size as you. There were 12 to 15 agents. And I remember they were like, okay, we're going to recruit one a month. And I asked the question, why not 5 a month? So I'm going to ask you, why not 5 a month?
Because I still run operations.
Yeah.
So I have my operations hat plus my sales/recruiting hat.
Mm-hmm.
So there is leverage to it, but there still is operational things that I have a pretty strong oversight into.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is why I'm drilling into this, Robert, because there is an operational factor. It takes work to onboard an agent, right?
100, what is it? It's average 108 hours in
Yeah.
order to onboard somebody.
So the one thing that I know is that if we set systems up in place, just like we do for contract to close processes, if we set systems in place for onboarding new agents, it ends up not being any more work to onboard 5 agents than 1 agent if we do them all together. And so just have you guys thought about that?
So we have, and just at our current growth rate, we didn't want to hold up people from like joining the team, right? Because they're wanting to jump into real estate. We talk to people in all levels of their real estate career. So whether they're thinking about going to real estate school, they're in real estate school, they just graduated from real estate school, they just passed their tests and background, and they're looking at brokerages. They've been in the industry, 1 to 2 years. They've been in the industry, 5 plus.
Yeah.
So without wanting to like hey, I need you to hold back so that we can get enough people for this particular class so that then we can train at the same time. So it's more staggered. Like our last hire came in when our hire before that was at 9 weeks in, right? So
Yep.
there's still staggering. It's just when it makes sense for that particular agent to come on, and then starting them at, step 0 all the way through their onboarding, because we have a 12-week onboarding that we run.
Right. Okay. So onboarding's 12 weeks. Okay. I got it. Cool. Well, you guys getting to 20 agents, and we'll talk more about this offline, Robert, because I want to run some things by you. But when you guys get to 20 agents or 18 agents, what is the production of the team next year by getting there in May?
So by getting there in May, we're going to be right around 300. So
Okay.
my projection is like 292 to maybe like a 312,
Okay.
just with where they come on at is really going to be a determining factor.
And my guess is that gets you guys to being over 100 million in closed volume. Is that right?
Yeah, that would get us over 100 million.
Yeah.
Like just over 100 million in closed volume.
Yeah. Very cool. All right. Well, congratulations. That's exciting. If you were to say, like, what is the most important thing that you've learned, like, if you were giving advice to, you're an interesting personality because you are an ops leader and you are a sales leader. There aren't many of you in the industry that I've come across. But thinking about that, like, what is the most important advice you would give to an ops leader today? And then what is the most important advice you would give to a sales leader today in the real estate industry?
For an ops leader, it is to know and understand your systems that you have in place and identify the areas that you might be lacking. More so to audit things so that you don't become complacent and those small cracks start to really expand. Because as you grow or as you increase your production, your systems will be tested. And if you have small cracks in the system, as you grow, those things will become canyons. So in order to avoid that, it's important to look at your systems and see where there might be cracks forming. On the sales side of things, it goes back to that accountability is the highest form of love, and understanding what that means is crucial to helping anybody grow. And where your job as a sales leader is to help your salespeople grow, it's to also be willing to have those tough conversations and have those accountability conversations of this is what you committed, not to me, but to yourself, especially where you're dealing with 1099 personnel, where you committed this to yourself. You said this is what you wanted to achieve, and bringing it always back to that is going to significantly help not only your teammates grow their production, but also the culture within the organization.
Yeah, I love that. It's focusing on them and their goals and what they want is so much more important. And that's what they care about, right? They want you to coach them to their goals and not focus on your goals, right? So the only way you can shift your goals, which in your case, your goal is to get to 100 million in closed volume. How do you do that? You get to 18 agents, right?
Yep.
So anyway, that's awesome. Thanks for that advice. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, Robert, what's the best way? Whether they're an agent wanting to take a look at joining your team because of the results you guys are getting, or if they're, another sales leader or ops leader in the industry that want to talk to you about some stuff.
So the best way to get a hold of me is through email. So robert.ortongroup@gmail.com.
Okay. Well, everybody, thank you for listening to another episode of the Grit Podcast. Robert, grateful to have you on the show with us today. Love seeing your growth, love cheering you guys on, and we'll continue to do that from the sidelines. And also, we're here to support you if you ever need anything as well. So we're grateful to have you as a customer at Sisu, and thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you for joining us on our podcast. If you have an interest in a free 7-day trial of Sisu, go to sisu.co, sisu.co. Make sure that you use the coupon code GRIT, that's GRIT, to waive all your setup fees and receive a 10% discount on your subscription. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast and want to subscribe, search GRIT, the real estate growth mindset, on iTunes, Spotify, or Podbean. And with that, we'll catch you next time. Take care.